Hi, this is Nicole Monique with That's What She Said Sports, and I'm here with Mr. Fran Tarkenton. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Nicole. Nice to be with you.
Well, it's nice to meet you. It's such a pleasure. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
So, kind of wanted to start a little bit back from the beginning as far as, obviously, you grew up in Athens, Georgia.
I did.
And you went to the University of Georgia.
I did.
And what was that like playing?
Well,
being a quarterback at the
I
University
grew
of
up in
Georgia?
Athens, but I started at the YMCA in Athens. And,
Okay.
and that was a great experience, built a foundation there. Had a great leader named Coburn Kelly. Everybody needs coaches along the way.
Right.
But you got to be coachable to get coaches right.
Yeah.
You got to listen. And so I had a great coach. He was a great role model and to life and playing football. Then I had great coaches in high school. We won the state championship in high school at Athens High.
Yeah.
Played in the University of Georgia's Sanford Stadium. I played our
Wow.
games. Then I just went across the street to play for the University of Georgia. We won the SEC championship. And it was just in my bones. It was in my DNA. I love sports. I didn't love education. I love sports. I made good grades, but it was not what drew me. I liked. And then I got drafted to the National Football League, and I got drafted by the Minnesota Vikings. So I said, "Wow, I've never been to Minnesota. Never been there.
Right.
I didn't know it could be so cold."
Oh, yeah.
So I went up there and played for them, and then played 18 years in the National Football League.
Wow.
That's a long time.
Oh,
Played in 3 of the first 11 Super Bowls. Only missed 5 games in 18 years, and so it was a great run.
Now, when you're drafted, you were also drafted by the Boston Patriots.
I was.
For the AFL
yeah,
as well.
and the AFL, I was drafted in 1961.
Right.
The AFL had been in business about 2 years. It wasn't merged with the NFL, and it was
Okay.
kind of not a minor league, but it was a separate pro league.
Okay.
And the Boston Patriots offered me $17,500 salary and a $5,000 bonus.
Wow.
Which was, I mean,
That
my
was a lot.
God. Oh, I come from nothing. You know, I mean, my father was a preacher man. And he made $50 a week. And so they offered me that. But then the Vikings came and offered me only $12,500 and $3,500 bonus.
Right.
So it was a big discrepancy. Guess what I did?
Well, you went with the Vikings.
I went with the Vikings. Reason I did, it was a great decision because this was a fledgling league in the American Football League. I didn't know whether it was going to make it or not. And I had to prove myself I could make it in the big league. If I can make it there, I could go back, right?
Right, definitely.
And so I made the right decision.
Yeah.
But now that I've grown older, I love Boston.
Yeah.
It's a great town. And it would have been fun to play in Boston.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Now, what was it like being a quarterback?
Yeah.
When I was little, I actually wanted to be a quarterback.
Yeah, did you?
Well, I didn't know. I mean, I was 8 years old.
Yeah,
my dad
sure.
introduced me to sports, so
Yeah.
my dream was to win the Heisman and be a quarterback.
Yeah,
Obviously,
and they
I learned that wasn't going to happen.
What? Yeah, they didn't have any place for ladies in the football field. Well, I was always a quarterback.
Okay. So you never played another position,
I
even
never
in
played,
high school or
I never
college?
played another position.
Okay.
And I have an older brother, and my formative years up to 10 years old, I lived in Washington, D.C., in the city, and we played two-man touch football in the alley.
Wow.
And he was the receiver, and I was the quarterback. I
Yeah.
threw the ball. Always have done that, and always had kind of a leadership role, and I grew and matured quickly.
Right.
At 13 years old, I played for the Athens High Trojans on the varsity, and I started
Wow.
at quarterback, and I was 5'10", 145 pounds
Yeah.
at 13. So I didn't grow much after that.
Right.
But I just love the challenge of leadership. I love the challenge of you never learn enough as a quarterback, and you're challenged, and it kind of helped me in my business life later on because I had to reinvent myself every day.
Right.
I had to get better every day.
Yeah.
And sports drives you to that. If you're going to make it to the next level, and you're going to excel at the high school level, the college level, the pro level, you've got to work.
Oh, yeah,
And
definitely.
you've got to talk, and you've got to listen, and you've got to get better, and you got to change things up, and that's the fun of it. And I did that all high school, college, and pro.
Right.
And in the quarterback position, it's hard to win at any level if you don't have a quarterback that can play at some
Right.
level. And we see that in pro football. Last year,
yeah.
Peyton Manning got hurt and didn't play at all. Here's a team, Indianapolis, is in the playoffs every year.
Yep. And they win 2 games.
2 games and lose 14 without Peyton.
Right.
So I just like that responsibility.
Now, do you think playing football helped you be the businessman that you are today?
Oh, no question.
Okay.
From the standpoint is the thing that I loved all the stuff of football, the camaraderie, I love the physicality, but
Right.
I love the thinking.
Yeah.
And you never get smart enough.
Yeah.
And I drove myself. And by doing that, I exercised my brain. And I got smarter.
Right.
Because I never was satisfied with where I was.
Yeah.
And so I started doing business while I was playing football.
Mm-hmm.
Because, my goodness, business operates 24/7.
Right.
And football, it's once a week for 6 months of the year.
Right.
Business never stops.
Yeah.
So if you had to reinvent yourself in football and you had to keep yourself going and push and push and push,
Right.
in business you got to do it every minute.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between the ones who make it and the ones who don't.
Definitely.
You've got to push. And see, I really believe that in business we have to be coached.
Yeah.
And not many people understand that.
Why do you think so many, I mean, that's such a wonderful mindset, but why do you think so many young players today don't have that mindset? You read about players today who end up, they're broke or they're bankrupt, they're having a hard time.
Well, my era was bankrupt too.
Okay.
The guys in my era were great football players. They didn't take that and move it over to business.
Right.
As hard as they worked here, they didn't move it over to business.
Yeah.
It's no different today.
Okay.
Today, there's more money.
Yeah, a lot more money.
But what happens, they lose their money faster.
Yeah.
Because at least with us, nobody had any money to start with, and so you couldn't waste
Right,
it.
right.
But today, they make millions of dollars, and most of them end up broke.
Yeah.
Because they think, well, oh, this is endless. I'm making $5 million or $3 million,
Yeah.
and that's all the money in the world. Then if you buy, a $4 million house, and you buy $100,000 cars, and
the houses are all over. It's not
and
just
they're all
one
over,
house.
yeah. And all of a sudden, you're out of football, you're out of and you don't have any money.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time.
Right. Yeah. So tell me something. What are you most proud of?
Well, I don't know. That's an interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I have a pride. I don't know that I haven't gotten where I want to get.
Really?
I'm 72 years old.
Okay.
I can't wait to get up in the morning because
Yeah.
I'm curious, and I never do as much as I think I can do. You know how if
Right.
somebody says, "Well, I tried my best."
Yeah.
What is
is
trying
that?
you? What is that?
Right.
I've
Right.
never done my best.
Yeah.
Never have I done my best.
Huh.
And I'm still reaching to do better and better, so I don't have time to say, "Oh,
Right.
I'm really proud of my football career. I'm proud of my business career."
Yeah.
I don't think that way.
Right.
I think about today, tomorrow, the next day, and how we can bring more value
Yeah.
to customers. How can we build products or services that really make a difference?
Right.
You
Right.
know, in our business now, we help a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Well, we built this studio that we're in today
Right.
so we could stream out video online
Yeah.
to entrepreneurs. So once I did that, I said, entrepreneurs need to be coached. They need to hear the truth. They need to be
Right.
pushed and driven, as I
Right.
did. So we started an online program. We do it in here once a week. And we could stream it out across the world to entrepreneurs, a real coaching program from a person and people I bring in that have built businesses
Wow.
and done business. And if your people like to just go and take a look at it, it's so much. Just go to onemorecustomer.tv, and you will see it's no cost for it.
Yeah.
And we could see it, and I did one today in here,
Yeah.
and I walk out and I feel good
Yeah.
because we're given information to help somebody.
Yeah.
Now, are they going to look at it? I don't know, because the one thing I do know, we're all lazy.
Yeah.
And once we recognize that, we're more likely to push ourselves.
Right.
And entrepreneurs need to be pushed. They think it's some magic silver bullet that's going to make them work, but it's not.
Now, do you think everybody has that entrepreneurial spirit?
I
Or
don't think everybody has the work ethic
That's
or
true.
work habit or the drive
Yeah.
to be successful in anything.
Yeah.
But see, and that's the joy of life. See, so many people go and work for a big company,
Right.
or they work for the government,
Yeah.
and there's no meritocracy. No matter how good they go, right?
Right.
They can't drive. They can't get up.
Yeah.
I mean, they're set by this seniority. How depressing that is.
Yeah.
The greatness of America was your ancestors and my ancestors. People from all over the globe. My parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents came from somewhere else.
Right.
And the brightest and the strongest came here.
Yeah.
And why did they come here? For the opportunity and the freedom to do something.
Definitely.
But so many fall into a plight of,
This is as good as it gets.
Yeah, you know, I want somebody to take care of me.
Right.
You know, I want somebody to give me a job.
Right.
I don't have, you know, and so I've lost the thrill
Yeah.
of accomplishing something.
And they settle.
And the fun of it
Yeah.
is, I had a 7 out of 15-hour day yesterday.
Wow.
I loved every second of it.
Right.
And I'm back in here today all day
Right.
because we're doing things and we're making a difference and we're improving. And I'm smarter today than I was a week ago.
Now, would you say then you found your passion? This is something you're definitely passionate about, or are you
I'm
still every
passionate
day
about life. No, I'm seeking. I'm
Okay.
going because here's another mantra I have that I hit on. Nobody has an original idea. You know how people say, oh, he's creative or she's creative. Nobody has an original idea.
That's
You
true.
only learn from what you see, what you hear, what you read.
Right.
So I want to be sure I ask a lot of questions. I see a lot of diverse people. I read a lot of diverse things.
Right.
And not get caught in a trap of just the people I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
See, I read the Wall Street Journal every day cover to cover. It's a great editorial, most read newspaper in the world, more conservative.
Right.
I read the New York Times cover to cover every day. Great writers, more liberal.
Right.
I want to learn from both.
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
all these people, I've got the answer. And if you don't believe like me, you're crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's boring to me
Right.
because I want to get smarter. And I only get smarter by reading really smart people writing things that maybe don't think as I think.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in Athens, as we've said, and many of my classmates still live there.
Really?
And they say to me,
Why'd you leave?
well, they say to me, you know, I'm comfortable. They have a great life.
Right.
And they say to me, God, how do you live in Atlanta?
Oh, well,
You
yeah.
know, big country. I said, I love it, but
Yeah.
if they think that's bad, how about I go to New York a lot?
Yeah.
And not these are good people, but their thinking is right here.
Oh, yeah.
My thinking is out here.
Yeah. When I left Michigan to
Yeah.
Atlanta, everybody was
Yeah.
like, how could you move?
Yeah.
And then I went from Michigan to New York for 3
Yeah.
years, and then I came back to Atlanta, and then Atlanta all of a sudden
Well,
seemed small.
think of this in our religiosity. I'm a son of a preacher man, right?
Yeah.
And my dad was a Pentecostal holiness minister, and all those people only hang out with Pentecostal holiness.
Right.
Nobody else is going to go to heaven but them.
Yeah.
You know, the Baptists weren't going to heaven, and the Catholics, oh my God, they're for sure not going to heaven, and so forth. You know, it's narrow, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the place that, you know, that I've got the answer. I don't have the answer.
Yeah.
And neither do any of you people who
Right.
watch it. And that's the search, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the search. And that's the fun journey.
Well, it's so inspiring for you to say, look, I'm 72 years old and I'm still searching, because
Yeah.
that's definitely what
Yeah.
I'm doing on
Sure.
my end.
Good.
You know, I went back to school. Obviously, you go back to school for your MBA.
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking, I'm going to conquer corporate America. And while in school, I realized I'm not doing what I want to do. I'm not happy.
Yeah.
So I had to take a step back and pray on it and talk to my husband. I said, you know what? My passion has always been either TV and sports. Why can't I combine the two?
You can.
I mean,
Go do it.
and first thing people said was, first, you're a woman and you're older. I got that. It's nothing I could change. I'm always going to get older. I'm always going to be a woman. That's not going to change.
That's right.
But I'm loving it. I'm
You know,
loving it.
it's a good lesson there. I don't care if you're in business.
Yeah.
You better have a product or service that you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't believe in it, if you don't believe that your mission is to help other people,
Yeah.
then you know you're going to fail. And I think in life you got to find what your passion and go for it. And if your passion is television and sports,
Yeah.
that's what you should do. Even if it's on some podunk station somewhere, right?
Right.
Doesn't matter. Or in our studio here, it doesn't matter. I always wanted to do radio,
Yeah.
because television, your sound bites. And so we built our own studio.
Yeah.
And I asked my business partner, Rick Gossett, once, I said, can you remember why we built the studio? But we know why.
Yeah.
Because it's now allowed us to communicate to the world.
Right.
And I do my radio show here. We stream out our coaching program and other stuff out to the world.
Yeah.
The first person signed up for our coaching program, I think, came from Poland.
Wow.
Can you imagine? I mean, today's technology, we can do anything.
Yeah.
So and that's kind of fun. And
Right.
and so Good for you.
Yeah.
Follow your passion. Don't settle for anything less.
I'm definitely not. I mean,
No.
it's scary, and I think that's probably what held me back
No.
for all these years. But you know what? I figure, like you said, you have nothing to lose, right?
do it.
I've always felt, well, if I didn't try, I've already failed. So
That's right. Go do it.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Right. Well, real quick, I wanted to kind of do a little word association
Okay.
game. I'm just going to bring up a few quarterbacks,
All right.
and if you could tell me the first word that comes to
Okay.
mind. Drew Brees.
I think overachiever, terrific guy, underappreciated, as good as it gets.
Yeah. Peyton Manning.
I think one of the top 5 quarterbacks of all time.
Tom Brady.
One of the top 5 quarterbacks of all time.
Michael Vick.
Michael Vick is a dilemma.
Yeah.
Nice young man, unbelievable skills of running. I've never seen a quarterback run with this.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's a good young man.
Right.
Got a great throwing arm. He tantalizes you, doesn't he? I mean, he plays the games. Holy cow!
I know.
He's so good, and then he goes the other way. And I don't know. And he's a good player, not a great player.
Okay. Cam Newton.
Had one of the most remarkable rookie seasons
He did.
of any quarterback
Yeah.
that ever played. He's got a combination of being able to be great athletic ability with the ability to make plays.
Wow.
That takes, you can have size and speed and throwing ability, which he has.
Yeah.
Better than most.
Yeah. I see him as smart.
But
he's a very smart quarterback.
he's really got something that he's able to take it to the field, lead his team, and make plays. But I'm going to tell you a quarterback that you better watch out for. RJ3.
Oh, yeah.
RJ3.
He's my pick to be first, even though I
Well,
know it's going to be Andrew Luck.
But it might change. And I think his stock's going up. Off the charts ability.
Yeah.
Handles himself beautifully.
Right.
Mother and father are military people. Great discipline. And you watch him handle himself in the press as a 21-year-old guy.
Yeah, I am.
He's wonderful.
His interviews are really nice.
And
yeah.
he's an off-the-chart player. Now, you can have all the talent in the world and not be a very good player.
Right.
He's got the talent, but he's also makes plays.
Right.
I like him a lot.
And what do you think about Tim Tebow? He was really in the news for a little bit.
I think he's a wonderful human being. I think
Yeah.
he's a lousy quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think long term his career as a quarterback, but I think that, he's got another life. His other
Right.
life is his religion, and that's really his drive.
Yeah.
That's his passion, and he does that pretty well.
Yeah.
And
He definitely loves football, and
Yeah.
you see that he's trying, and you
Yeah.
can appreciate
Yeah.
that. But yeah.
a lot of us love football that can't
Sure.
play it.
Yeah.
And he's really done a lot with his abilities. Maybe one of the great college players that ever lived, but he didn't have to be the passer.
Right.
In this league, you've got to be able to really be pinpoint. If you can't pass,
Right.
and be really great at passing,
And what-
and I don't think he is.
Now, what's your take on quarterbacks now? As far as, do you think the NFL protects them too much? I
No.
mean, you came up in an era where
No.
you got hit.
It's a tough game. It's
Yeah.
a tough game. I
Okay.
got hit. They get hit. It's a tough game. It's a fast game, and I think you got to be courageous to be a quarterback because you're defenseless.
Right.
You're sitting there. I used to wear smaller pads because I didn't want to be inhibited by my shoulder pads.
Yeah.
I didn't even wear knee pads, and so today they got a little more padding, but they're defenseless. I mean, they're
Right.
sitting there as a statue, and you've got big guys that are speedy that can come and take them out, and so they have to be courageous.
Right. Well, I'm sure you've heard in the news about the bounty.
Yep.
With everything that's going on,
Yep.
and it seems like every day a new team
Yep.
is coming on. What's your take on that? Is it disappointing or not surprising, or
It's terrible.
Okay.
And for these athletes to say, it hasn't been going on. It didn't happen in my era.
okay?
It's thuggery.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing that could happen in the NFL. The repercussions from this are going to be awful. When you've got a coach, and you're a young man, and you're trying to impress your coach and your teammates, and he said, "It's okay. We're gonna pay you a bounty
Yeah.
to take Peyton Manning out, to take Drew Brees out, to take Kurt Warner out, or knock a guy out of the game, knock him out,
Right.
concussion, or have him out on a stretcher." And you reinforce that, and because if you're leading this team, we look at our coaches and say, "Coach us, right?"
Right.
If you say it's okay, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's the worst thing that I've seen in the history of the National Football
Yeah.
League.
Well, what's disturbing is not even just the hitting; it's the more money if they're carted off.
Well,
so I mean, it's disturbing all the way around. But
it's hitting.
Yeah.
It's football.
Yeah.
It's a violent sport.
Right.
And now you're going to tell guys, not only do I want you to hit somebody, I want you to take them out. Now, you know what? I'm a helpless quarterback. They can take me out.
Yeah.
And now with the helmets that weigh 20 pounds and the big and fast as these guys are, they can take you out.
Yeah.
And that's what they've been doing, and that's wrong, and their coaches have made it right. I think you're going to have lawsuits.
Oh, yeah.
Criminal lawsuits. And you're going to have big penalties paid by the New Orleans Saints. I would imagine their defensive coordinator, who's now in St. Louis, who has been doing this for years.
Right.
I think he'll be suspended from the league for the entire year.
Wow.
He may be suspended for life.
Yeah.
I think the coach will be suspended. I think the general manager will be suspended. I think they'll take away draft choices. I think this will be the biggest penalty that a team has ever had in the history of football, and it should be.
Now, do you think they'll do that for all the teams or the Saints or just
Well,
the Saints?
the Saints are the only ones that they know about.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, the Saints, they had an investigation.
Yeah.
And the evidence is, in fact, the coaches admitted it.
Okay.
So I think if they find more, it'll be equally hard.
Wow.
It's got to be, because the very future of the league rests on this. You've got lawsuits now from older players of my generation, because we didn't get the medical treatment on concussions.
Right.
We got a concussion, we went back in.
Right.
That protocol was wrong, and the league denied for years, up until 3 years ago, that concussions didn't cause dementia, didn't cause Lou Gehrig's disease, didn't cause Alzheimer's. So now that we've been giving our dead brothers brain to Boston College, and they've come out and says it does.
Yeah, and I think Jim McMahon just recently came out with something that he has early dementia.
It's commonplace. It's going to happen to this generation of player too.
Right.
Because this coach, who's telling this guy to go out and maim somebody else, he hits him with his head. He's going to get trauma.
Yeah.
And this has happened historically, because the guy that probably started this whole thing was a coach named Buddy Ryan. And many of the players that played for him have got dementia now.
Wow.
So it's just got all kind of tentacles out there that you're going to see. This story will not go away.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, certainly other pro teams must be doing it, right?
Right.
And guess what else? There are college teams that must be doing it.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the
And
college aspect
because
of
if it happens here, they all talk to one another, and then
Yeah.
they see, and they say, well, you got to give them a little incentive and tell them, you know, and it's a macho thing, right?
Right.
But it's thuggery.
Yeah.
It's a tough game by itself. When you go out and purposely try
To take someone
to
out.
take someone out, bad stuff.
Yeah. Now, do you think the commissioner is doing a better job with ex-NFL players with pension and health care?
Well, I think this commissioner has got a lot on his plate.
Right.
And I think he's done a very good job of trying to get the big hits out. You know, he's fined people for this the last 2 years, head-to-head combat and all that stuff. I think he's led the go on the concussion and the protocol on that. I think he's a good commissioner. I think he'll come down really hard on this. He's got a tough job.
Yeah.
Because so much happened before his watch that he wasn't responsible for, but I think he's doing a good job.
He's definitely cleaning it up. I mean, he doesn't play.
But this problem has got some legs to it.
Yeah.
This one is tough, and of course the National Football League is the biggest thing in the world.
Oh yeah.
$11 billion sport.
Yeah.
Big
So
deal.
my last question for you,
Yeah.
it's going to be an interesting question. Tell me, what's harder, raising a daughter or getting hit by a linebacker?
Oh, none of them are hard. I've got 3 daughters, and none of them are hard.
Yeah.
Getting hit by a linebacker wasn't hard. I didn't. I when you play, you don't even recognize the size and speed
Right.
of people. I was with Mean Joe Green a few just before the Super Bowl, and Mean Joe came up about when he came up for the Steelers when I was about 27, 28, and I played against him his rookie year.
Yeah.
And he was now you talk about a tough man. This was a big, strong, no drugs, no steroids,
Right.
no HGH, no nothing. And he was a clean player.
Yeah.
But he was a tough guy. And so he said, "Hey, Fran, you're the reason I have the name Mean Joe." I said, "Oh, get out of here, Joe." I did. Yeah. You remember when I played you in Yankee Stadium? I do remember this very well. And because he hit me out of bounds late in the game, and they threw him out of the game. And so he says, "You know what happened? You know why I did what I did?" I said, "Well, not really." He said, "Well, because I was chasing you all day, and you were elusive, and I couldn't quite get you. And every time I'd go by, you'd say, miss me? You miss me? Which I probably did. And he said, then I finally got you.
Right.
But you were 5 yards out of bounds. Now, he did get me.
Yeah.
But he didn't try to take my head off. Joe Green
Yeah.
could have taken a whack at me right out of bounds and put me out of the game
Wow.
and ended my career. But he didn't.
Yeah.
And these guys are saying today, oh, it's been going on forever and this and that. It wasn't going on in my time.
Right.
And these guys were tougher than these guys.
Oh, yeah.
And
because I think if Deacon
they
Jones
didn't.
would have hit some of these guys now, they would be
Deacon
feeling it.
Jones, Mean Joe, Ray Nitschke,
Yeah.
Dick Butkus, all the
Yeah.
tough football.
Right.
But it wasn't brutal football. Even then, you get hurt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is a big story.
Yeah. And now people are taking it to that whole nother level.
Well, the Bounty Gate is something that I'd never heard of until the last week. I've
Right.
never heard of it, and it is despicable. It's sickening.
Yeah.
It's cowardice, and it needs to be dealt with.
Yeah. Well, and I think it will be.
Yep.
So, well, thank you so much,
My
Mr.
pleasure.
Tarkenton. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.